asking for what we hear others ask for. We get a cookie, we break it up, and when you get through, that cookie don't look like it did when it started out. It looks altogether different. Reparations was a Nation of Islam project. Our Nation of Islam called for it. That doesn't mean, though, that the Nation of Islam is an entity which does not consider or include you. I regret that Islam, the Nation of Islam, is not so clear to you that you create other entities, other movements, and splinter your group and become many-sided. When it becomes time to pay reparations or receive reparations, will we receive reparations many-sided? And every conceivable organization gets reparations. When I ask the UN for reparations, I include in the request a forum where all black leaders, including myself, and what other black leader is present or represents an entity of a people will be included in the discussion of reparations. And you bear with me. I won't talk like this all of my life, or the rest of my life. That is, I have had a mini stroke. Well, I didn't talk so well to begin with, but I have had a mini stroke. I'm recovering from a mini stroke, and my words don't come out exactly as I want them to. But it don't stop me. This heart not light. We will get paid reparations.
Yes, sir.
I am certain of that.
Yes, sir. Yes.
What Abraham was, but if you examine what territory Abraham lived in, that would tell you what Abraham was. He was an upright Muslim. So when you reclaim your own, you're reclaiming that which your forefather was. Messenger Muhammad, he talked and taught for over 40 years, 44 years. Reclaim your own. He said, get out of that white man's name. Call yourself an X, anything but Baal and Culpepper. Call yourself X. Just get rid of that white man's name. You didn't hear him, but I heard him. He was for you. He represented you. He was a man from God. Clearly from God. But then many people don't accept that he is from God. They don't accept Elijah and Muhammad. But you must reclaim your own. If you reclaim your own, you would be reclaiming that which Abraham was. in the teachings, Master Farrakhan Muhammad taught Elijah Muhammad. He said to him, you reclaim your honor. He was what? He was Arabic. An Arabic man came to America. He came by himself to the United States in 1930. He came to teach you the knowledge of yourself. Many black people did not accept him. Elijah Muhammad accepted him and taught this teaching. Reclaim your honor. Reclaim your honor. Reclaim that which you were before you were brought into slavery. Well, that was over 60 years ago. Today, in the UN supports, back up everything that Master Farrakhan Muhammad said. I know because I am there. The UN, they say you are not human beings. That's why you don't have any rights. You are not a human being. The U.S. government say you are a human being, but you are only 3/5 of a human being. In the Constitution, you are 3/5 of a human being. You are a human being, a whole human being. Why is it that the UN did not know you were a human being? It is because, I'm into my talk now, it is because America hides you under its majority. It hides you because you speak English, the same as he. It hides you because you practice Christianity, the same as he. It hides you because you are in his culture, the same as he. So the UN looks at you as you're part of the majority. But they know that you are not the majority. They know that the U.S. and you consider yourself a minority. They see this. A Japanese girl told me in Geneva, we know you're over there. Am I speaking clear enough?
Yes, sir.
We know Japanese girl. But how old is she? Tanaka? About
Maybe late 20s.
late 20s. A young girl. I'm an old man. He's 20 years old, 20 in her 20s. She's saying, we know you're over there, but nobody's saying anything about it. You won't say nothing about it. You won't stand up and say nothing about your rights. So nothing is done about it.
Good.
The same year that the professor was teaching on human rights, given a definition of minority, I was there with an intervention. An intervention is nothing but an argument, but in the international community, they call it intervention. It's a debate that is going on. When he said minorities and began to define the minorities, he defined everybody but us. Everybody but the black man in America. The black man in the Isles, black man in Central America, the black man in South America. He's defining minorities, but he left us out. Another gentleman was in the audience, and he pointed out to the professor, you talk about minorities, but you left out of your discussion a group of minorities that are populated in the United States, in Central America, and in South America. You left them out. At the close of this session, I was there for the whole week. This was about 1968, 98. At the close of that session, the question was asked, well, when you send out information to the leadership of America, do not forget Mr. Muhammad. He is here right now, and when you send out special rapporteurs to the United States, be sure to send out special rapporteur to him. And he said, first, we must find out where you've been. I said, my argument is right. My argument is right. He is saying he don't know where we fit. My argument in 1998, I have been going over that since 1990. About 10 years I have been going there. But in 1998, I'm getting a chance to get inside of the room, in the hall, and speaking about our issue, reparations. I'm talking reparations. I have the word minority. I will connect it up in a minute. You will see. So, at the close of the session, he said, find out where you fit. We don't know where you fit. Well, his statement supported my argument. I argued it is unintelligent for us to argue a violation of our human rights. It is unintelligent to argue violation of human rights. We don't have human rights.
Yes, sir.
I will connect it up for you in a minute. I say we don't have human rights. So it's foolish for us to argue a violation of our human rights. We don't have any. And the UN, human rights are, they have over a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, compiled definitions. Each year, every so often, they improve upon the definition, they improve upon it. So they have established in the UN a definition for minorities. They say human rights, minority, human rights, and then human rights, they give a definition for human rights. Human rights are your language as one human right, your culture, second element, third element, your religion is the third element of human rights. Culture, language, and religion. These make up your human rights according to the UN definition. I said, we don't have it. We don't have our language. We don't have our language because this white man took it away. The government and the sub-governments of the United States took our human rights, that language, away. They took it away, and not only did they take it away, but they set up programs such that force you not to speak it. They wouldn't even allow us to speak it. And we lost the knowledge of it. We lost the use of it. So we don't have that human right. And religion, we don't know what our religion was before we came to America. We lost the knowledge of it, that human right. And our culture, we don't know, we don't practice our own culture. We lost the knowledge of our culture.
Yes, sir.
Because you took our language away. I can't speak it. So we don't have, according to your definition, and he operates everything on law, like what he is doing now with Bush and Gore.
Yeah.
Look at what he is doing. He said, if Gore said, if Bush wins the election, well, he will be president. Our Constitution says he will be president. Bush won the election. Gore said, well, count the votes. Count the votes, well, Gore said. Count the votes again by hand. Everything by law, he said. People didn't vote right. They didn't express their will. We will go to court. And court, we will resolve it by law. So he hinges everything on his law.
Yes, sir.
Well, we must hinge reparations on his law.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
His law, and we will, you will excuse me.
Take your time, sir. Take your time.
I get a little excited.
Me too.
Yes, sir.
You get excited when you know you're right.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, I know I'm right.
That's right.
And pardon me if it's bragging. I am right, not because I am right, because a man came to America and taught Elijah Muhammad. Elijah Muhammad taught me.
Yes.
I knew a long time ago,
Yes.
you don't have no rights.
That's right.
You're not a human being.
That's right.
I have tried to put it out in America so you could hear it. Fortunately, you are here today with me, and you are hearing it. But what the white man is saying in the UN, saying the same thing that Master Farrakhan Muhammad said. He said, you are not a human being. Today, the UN said, you are not a human being. Well, what is a human being? You got to have a language, you got to have a culture, and you got to have a religion. Well, I don't have any of those. I speak English, but it's not my language.
That's right. That's right.
I practice Christianity, but I don't know whether I should be practicing Christianity or not.
That's right.
My people, when they were in Africa, they didn't practice no Christianity.
That's right.
Well, I know now what they practice. They practice Islam.
Yes, sir.
They are sons of Abraham.
Yes, right.
Islam is what they practice. I knew this when I read his argument. And And I put that in there. We don't have human rights. I waited to see whether or not they would agree with me. And they agreed with me. You don't have human rights. And they sent one of the scholars out the same year to do a study on human rights, to do a study and try to figure out a way to include us in the definition of a minority. I say minority is the big category, and under minority is human rights, and under human rights are religion, culture, and language. And we didn't have any of those. So one of the gentlemen that was present, a subcommission member, that same year was given the assignment. We are teachers fostering human rights. It's our duty to see that everyone on the earth has human rights with the UN. It's their duty to see that every human being on earth has human rights. The Declaration, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It envisages that everyone, everywhere, is entitled to human rights. Mine are taken away.
Yes, sir.
Now, how do we fit that under law? Fit ourselves under law. First, we must be a minority, because we must be recognized as a minority. We are not recognized as a minority. You see that?
Yes.
Because we speak English, because we practice Christianity, because we enjoy this culture, we are looked upon as a part of the majority.
Yes, sir.
But we don't receive the benefits of the majority. We are treated like a minority. So we are a minority. And I asked him, where? Let me pause for a minute. I didn't ask him. He did it of his own volition. He assigned a man to write a paper and make black people in the United States, because we have a person here from the United States arguing, throwing it in our face. Write a paper trying to fit black people in the United States under the definition of minorities. This 1999 or 2000, the year 2000, the paper was written. I have it in my hand here. And I went to the working group meeting in May. And the paper was read and was discussed. And even the name Black American was mentioned in the paper. Beg your pardon, civil rights movement and the fight for rights, civil rights. He speaks that they didn't seek to eliminate only discrimination and segregation, but they sought to adopt or join themselves on to the majority. He says, it would seem that this attitude is changing. Minority groups based on ethnic and ethno-racial differences now seek not mere equality with the majority, but equality plus difference. He is saying that we sought under Martin Luther King to integrate to the extent that we will be absorbed under the definition of majority. But now he is saying or seeing that it's different, because I argued that it's different. And he wrote a paper pointing out this difference. I won't read the whole paper to you. If you want a copy of the paper, you can get a copy of the paper. I'll be happy to tell you where you can get a copy. But this paper was argued in the working group and was adopted and accepted, and then it becomes a working group paper. The working group are sub-commissioners that are given special assignments to take care of special projects, but they are sub-commissioners right anyway. And they were given the assignment, and it became given the assignment to write a working paper, and the working paper was written and accepted by the working group. Now the paper is from the working group. The paper goes to the sub-commission, and the sub-commissions meet in August. In August, I was right back again in Geneva. And I sat there waiting to hear the paper discussed. And for the first time, black people in the United States would be considered a minority. But lo and behold, the paper vanished. It vanished. It was not among the papers of the working group. It was not in the sub-commission papers. Somebody pulled it. Somebody didn't want this paper